Welcome back to Fireside Giants. You're with Anthony and Alex here, breaking down some of Evan Ingram's film work. I compiled all of his targets from this year, so you're going to get a good idea of what we've seen since week one leading up to week 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Knock, knock, the big drop. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. What he has brought to this offense so far, how has Jason Garrett schemed him in, and what we really expect from him moving forward, because we have not seen the Evan Ingram we expected to see this year coming in with better physical traits. He's looked healthier, looks way more in shape, stronger, more muscular. And then you have Jason Garrett trying to utilize him as Jason Witten. And it hasn't really worked because he doesn't have the frame to body linebackers, to body cornerbacks like that. So we saw a little bit of what we wanted to see from him last week, pushing the field, getting that secondary to retract and really give him some space to run into. And he actually did a really good job of that. He just can't catch. That's kind of the what we boiled it down to. So we're going to see some balls that he maybe should have caught, some bad reads by Daniel Jones and whatnot. So Anthony, my friend, how are you doing today? Before we dive into this.
Doing good. I'm excited to break this down and really take a closer look at Evan Engram because, going into the season, he really was a player that I was confident in, and I thought he was going to have a breakout season. I feel like most of us felt that way, but it's been rather disappointing through 7 weeks, and I'm excited to look a little closer and see what's gone wrong.
Yep. So we're gonna dive right into it with you guys. First game against Pittsburgh, the first play of the game actually, and it doesn't look pretty. This is kind of how his season has looked so far. So I'm gonna share my screen. You're not gonna see Anthony or I. We're gonna be narrating over this. So you can get a full screen look of it. I'll go back and kind of replay some of the plays that I think are worthy of doing so. But that's kind of how we're gonna operate on this specific episode. So as you can see, we got Evan Ingram in the slot right here on the left side. And we all know what this first play is going to be. He's going to run to the sticks, he's going to turn around, and he's going to drop this ball. We'll start right here with it. Down Jones, pretty much staring down that first read. He was the read the whole time, drops the ball, and that's that, right? We see, I'll replay one more time because this is the epitome of his season so far. Evan Ingram runs right to the sticks, turns around. Pretty good route, actually. He completely puts his guy running past him. I like that a lot. Not exactly what I want to see. Now we have a drop. That's the red zone drop that we saw from him, and I think that he actually was a little bit delayed in this route there. He should have been out a little bit more, and I think he kind of just didn't get there fast enough. And Daniel Jones, as you'll see right here, simply wasn't able to get there in time. Right there, he should have been going out more, right? And then he just
Right.
he
What
just
I what
stabbed
I
it.
think happened here was a little bit of a miscommunication between Jones and Engram. It's a check and release, and it's a pretty easy concept. This is 101. Tight ends, they block and then they go out. You're supposed to go more towards the flat, and he goes towards the middle of the field. I guess he was trying to read where he thought the safety and linebacker was going to be and sit down in the soft spot. And I guess Jones read it differently. So it's just a slight miscommunication on their part. But also, you could probably give Jones a little bit of fault here because he probably could have recognized this and probably could have put the ball in a better spot and realized where Engram was lining up. But I also want to take a look at this formation and see, this is more on Jason Garrett. If you see where Saquon Barkley is lined up about 2 yards in front of Daniel Jones, that just screams to the entire defense that this is a
It's not a
passing
running
play.
play.
And this is on the
Exactly.
2 yard line. On the 2 yard line, when you would think it's supposed to be a running play, you might want to actually trick the Pittsburgh defense into thinking it's a running play
Hmm.
before passing. But with Saquon Barkley lined up 2 yards in front of the quarterback, it's pretty obvious that it's a passing play. And that's just speaks to the greater issue that we have at hand here with the offensive coordinator Jason Garrett and
Giving
his
away things.
situational play calling.
Right, and it really just you're beating yourself at the beginning because you can't utilize play action, which you actually might be a better option here for Ingram. They know this is going to be a pass. They're going to chip him, as you'll see right here, and then basically he gets in there, and right here he's standing there. He hasn't even turned around yet. Jones has to throw that ball, and that's the only place he can throw it. Ingram just doesn't get there in time. So I think
Yeah.
that's more of a schematic thing. They probably fix that over the course of the season. It's new.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I actually really do like the play design though, to
Me
have
too.
Barkley come in motion across the formation underneath, and then to slip Engram underneath like that. That is a really good play call, and that should have been a touchdown. That's just, I guess, a miscommunication. It's week one. There was no preseason. It could be you could
Right,
attribute it to that, but that was
I
definitely a
would.
really nice play design on the goal line. The Giants got to come away with points there, though. And sometimes we want to get on the offensive coordinator for maybe not being at his best, but a lot of the times it's also just a matter of execution. And on that play, I think it really was just an execution thing.
Absolutely. Here we're going to the third target for Engram in this game, and it's an interception to TJ Watt. Now, this is TJ Watt just being an animal. This is nothing more than Daniel Jones not recognizing this, and TJ Watt being one of the best defensive rushers in the league. And, he just makes a play, in my opinion.
Right. Now, what I see on this play, though, is there's a couple of things because do we get the back? Like, okay, yeah, I want that camera angle with the where
This
we can
one,
see Daniel Jones's back. hmm Yeah, because what I see here is, of course, it's an amazing play by TJ Watt. Just pause that real quick. And you got to give all the credit to TJ Watt here because what he does is he just reads Daniel Jones. But the problem here
right.
is this play to me is on Daniel Jones, and then I'll explain why it's a little bit on Evan Engram as well. Because Daniel Jones, as this play begins, you can press play. You'll see that he looks right to Evan Engram and never takes his eyes off of him. He is staring down Engram as soon as the ball is
hmm
snapped, the whole
And
way
he's
there.
so covered. Look how covered he is already.
Right, but okay, and that's the second part of this. The first part is that Jones is just staring him down. TJ Watt is too smart for that. He's going to
I'll go back a little
read
bit.
Daniel Jones's eyes and he's going to intercept it. That's, TJ Watt's a special talent. But if you also
Right.
watch how Evan Engram runs this route, he doesn't run it and work back towards the football. He doesn't cut sharp and then come back towards the line of scrimmage. Instead, he kind
hmm
of starts to drift upfield and lets that defender get underneath him. So even if TJ Watt didn't jump this play and jump and make this interception, I think this ball might have been intercepted anyway. So you got to give, some flack to Daniel
Right.
Jones here because a little bit to Engram for the way he ran the route, but also Jones is just staring down Engram and making it really obvious where he's going to the point where even that cornerback or safety that was guarding Engram saw it and was able to undercut the route. Now the undercut is, partially on Engram as well, but a lot of this play was on Daniel Jones just staring down his receivers, which has been a consistent problem for him dating back to college, and
Yep.
it's been very prevalent this year. He really locks into that first read and makes things a little bit obvious for defenders who are trying to read the quarterback's eyes.
Right. So we're seeing a lot of that. I think four or five of Jones's seven interceptions this year have been targets to Evan Engram. So clearly he's reading that first read. He's not moving on from it. And I also think that might just be a lack of understanding of the scheme. I don't think he understands how the timing of the routes. I don't think he has good chemistry with the receivers because you have to think about CJ Board, Damian Ratley. He's been running through receivers this season. He does not have the timing down with them. He probably has better chemistry than with Evan Engram than any of his receivers right now, except for Darius Slayton. And Engram missed half the season last year, so you have to imagine they're still pretty new in this whole thing. We're seeing things getting better and better and better. So as we saw last year, Jones did not move off his first reads very well. He had more creativity and ability to actually operate the offense the way he wanted it to. Now Jason Garrett's kind of making him stick to the scheme and learn the scheme and really go through these progressions. The problem is he's not going through the progressions as we would like him to. Like you mentioned before, he's really staring down his receivers. We saw it on the Damian Ratley interception against Chicago. We saw it in this play. We've seen it all season long. I think that's going to get better. I think that you have Jerry Shuplinski, you have Jason Garrett, you have some extremely talented coaches who are going to help him get through this issue. And we've seen how good he can be. The problem is we just haven't seen the progression in those specific categories that we would have liked. But that a lot of it comes down to scheme and moving through and trusting receivers and timing of the routes, and he just doesn't have that yet. With Sterling Shepard, Evan Engram, and Darius Slayton, I think we're going to see him move through his progressions a lot more efficiently. Um, Moving on
Yeah,
to the
and
next thing, I'm just
I'll say real quickly that I am a big Daniel Jones guy, but sooner or later, this issue needs to get resolved because it has been prevalent since college. He was making this mistake a lot then, and he's still making it now. And I feel like it's gotten worse. Actually, I feel like he was better going through his progressions last year. One play I can remember specifically was in his second start against Washington when he threw a touchdown pass to Wayne Gallman. It was about his fourth or fifth read on that play. He went through everybody and
right.
then checked down to Gallman in the flat, and they scored a touchdown. And we haven't really seen him do that and go through progressions like that and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've seen him go one, maybe 1, 2,
Maybe two.
rarely 1, 2, 3. So it's yeah, I'm a big Jones guy and I believe in him, but this is a problem and it needs to get solved as soon as possible.
I agree. The only thing that I will say about that is when he gets to his third read, it's like, who's even there? It's CJ Board, Damian Rowley. There's no chance that guy is open. You're really
That's
waiting for one or
fair.
two to get open.
That's fair. It's tough for these receivers. They're not separating. It's tough on Daniel Jones when the receivers aren't separating. And then you also have to put into consideration that the offensive line is really bad. So sometimes he's probably just increasing the speed on his mental processing to try and supplement for the fact of the bad offensive line play. So
Right.
we
I
can,
would agree with that.
yeah.
All right. So let's check out the next target. And then Saquon, which makes me sad. Okay, so you got Daniel Jones dropping back here. This is a gorgeous. This is exactly what we wanted to see from Evan Engram. The problem is it was offensive pass
Right.
interference, and
I think it
I
was
don't
a
think it
ticky tack
was.
call. I think it's a
Yeah,
ticky tack
I'll go
call
back to it.
because this is exactly what you want to see. He gets one
He
on
just had
one
his
with
arm
this.
extended a little bit.
Right.
That's
He
what they
gets
called it
one on
on.
one with this defensive back, and he uses good hand fighting techniques at the top of the route. Right near
So
the
right here,
10.
right there.
Yeah, right there.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful route right there. Just great. He
exactly.
gets outside, and he just bursts speed upfield, and his athleticism is one of the best. They should be throwing him the ball like he's a basketball player, right over the top. Let him go up and get it,
Yeah, it's just a seam
and he
route,
does
like a
it. Bam.
classic simple seam route. He toasts this defensive back, and Daniel Jones hits him with a perfect pass as well. High points it, keep it far away from where that defender can reach, and he leads it
Right.
away from where the safety is. He doesn't put it inside; he puts it on the outside because Minka
Beautiful.
Fitzpatrick is rotating over. So it is a perfect throw there, and it's a great catch. But he did extend the elbow a little bit. I do still think that it's a ticky tack call, and I don't
I
necessarily
would agree.
see offensive pass interference, but I mean they made the call, but I think that it's very ticky tack to me.
I would agree. I also think that even if he doesn't extend that arm, the cornerbacks, the cover guy is literally has his back face
Yeah.
to the quarterback. You're probably gonna get a DPI on that if you just don't extend your arm, or
Yeah,
you
well
catch it.
that's the thing is why even like the defender's back is to the football, why even extend that arm? You
Take
don't need
advantage
to
of it.
do that. So it's a
The ball
little
was
bit
high
of
enough; he
like.
wasn't getting it anyway.
Exactly. The throw was so perfect that that was so unnecessary for him to do. And if he just stands there because the defender's back is to the football, the defender's going to run through him. And like you said, it's going to be defensive pass interference. But, I look at a play like that, and then I look at a play like the Golden Tate touchdown in week 7, right? Where it's kind of the
Hmm.
same thing. He ran a slot fade, and Jones threw a perfect pass because he recognized that the defender's back was to the football. So he threw it in there, and there was a lot of hand fighting. There was a lot of contact before the catch, and then Tate made the catch and scored a touchdown. But the referee doesn't call the flag on that play, but he calls it on this one on Engram, and I just think it's a little, like I said, very ticky tack because I think that's one of those bang bang plays that happens every week.
Right, I would agree. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Got in the shotgun and another drop. He's asking
Well,
for a flag. I think he grabbed his arm though.
no, this you can't really fault Engram for. I think the next camera angle actually shows it better. This is
I
like
don't
a
know if I
clear
have it.
pass interference call that they missed. They didn't call it. They do have it. So we'll just wait a second there, and then you'll
Okay.
see that his left arm does get pulled down here, and the
Right.
placement
Oh,
on
he's
this
holding
ball
on
is
to his.
perfect.
Oh, there you go, though.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
You mentioned this. You
yeah.
mentioned this. He doesn't strap his gloves. Okay. And look
Right.
at this. He's literally holding on to his glove. Look at his glove. Look
I'm
at this.
not. Is it
Look at
his
this.
glove or
He's
is it his
holding on.
finger?
No,
Or is
he's
it
holding
his
on
finger?
to his glove.
Yeah.
It looks like
Well,
it's his glove. Look at it.
well, you
Look,
can
look right
see on
there.
his
See
right
it?
hand, you can see that his glove isn't strapped, and I don't understand why he does this because
Look
if
right
you
there.
ever
You see
put on
it?
a pair of gloves, right? If you've ever put on a pair of gloves, yeah, actually, I think you're right. He is holding on to the glove. So if you've ever put on a pair of gloves, you know that there's a difference between when they're strapped and when they're not strapped. When they are strapped, it's very secure and tight, and it makes it feel like you're not wearing anything on your hands. It just makes it
Hmm.
feel like you have hands and they're sticky. But when they're not strapped, it makes it feel like it creates like a little air pocket in your palm when they're not strapped, and it makes your hand feel a little thicker, and it makes it a little bit harder to catch a football. So I'm not going to fault him because making that one-handed catch, that's kind of hard, and that was a
Right.
clearly missed defensive pass interference call. So I can't fault Engram on that play, but I really don't understand why he doesn't strap his gloves, and I wish we could get some explanation of that because it's a consistent thing. He just doesn't do it, and he didn't do it on the. I noticed on the 3rd and 7 drop versus Philadelphia. he didn't have his gloves strapped, and I really don't understand why he does that because I feel like that is in some way affecting his ability to catch the football.
I would agree. All right, let's move on to the next one. Got Saquon in the backfield, and this is a pretty simple one. This is just getting him into space, but another pretty short route.
Yeah, no, I like that.
I
You
like
know,
it. I think it's
it's a
basic.
quick flat route. It's a route
Mhm.
that every single tight end runs. It's just when you run it with Evan Engram, you have more of a chance to gain more yardage because he's so athletic. So that I like that.
Yep,
That's a good play call. But also,
I
I
agree.
want to point out a trend here because this is still the first like 4 targets or so of the season to Engram and of this game. I think every single one of these has been a hot read to Engram. Engram has been the primary
Mhm.
receiver on every single one of
Yep,
these plays. Jones is
which is why they
locking
don't
in
want to
and
trade
throwing
him.
to Engram. Right, because I mean, really, the offense kind of revolves around him in the passing game sometimes. And but just the trend that I'm noticing here is because basically the greater point that we're making is that Engram is the cause of a lot of these interceptions and stuff, right? But it's also because he's the hot read, and Jones is just locking into his first read instantly and throwing it. So that problem is persistent, and when Engram isn't playing his best, it becomes a real liability.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, let's go through this. This is just a bad throw, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's got pressure in his face, so he had to get rid of it. And again, Engram was the hot read there, so he goes to the hot read.
Hmm.
This is
Yeah,
just
what can
one of
you
those.
do?
This is one of
Fleming's
those
on his
stick
butt.
routes.
Fleming's on his
I mean,
ass.
well, yeah, and that's the problem because you know that if he has more time, he's going to look to the left side of the field. You've got Slayton coming across on an in breaking route, and then you have Saquon sitting wide open in the left flat coming out of the slot. So, you know, that's just a tough break here because the
Hmm.
pass protection failed. But this is again Jones locking into his first read, which is just Engram pretty much every
Very
time.
good
So
stunt, though. Very good stunt.
no, it
Very
is.
well
I
executed
mean,
stunt.
that Pittsburgh defense is it's nuts. Like it's
I
probably the
mean,
best
Cam
in the
Hayward,
league.
look what he does. He takes Zeitler and Fleming out of the game. He puts Zeitler through the spin cycle and Fleming on his ass, and TJ Watt's wide open to
Hmm.
hit Jones. And it's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
what can you do? Well, you can't fault Jones for
yeah,
making a bad throw there. He has two guys in his face.
right. Yeah, I don't even know if it necessarily was a bad throw. He just had to get rid of it, and he went to the hot read.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much that.
and they
It did
had
hit his
Ingram
hands
lined up
though.
in the slot.
You can make the argument that that might have been a drop. And I like Engram
Right.
in the slot. That's a thing
I
though.
do.
I want to see
Look at this
more of
play.
this.
Look at this play design though. You have Ingram in the slot, and you also have Saquon in the slot.
Yeah,
I love what they're doing here. We just don't have the offensive line to give Jones enough time in the pocket. That's the issue. But I like what they're displaying, and they're just not. It's just not ready yet. We're
yeah,
just
and I
not
do
ready
like
for
the
this
empty
kind of.
backfield sets. I think that Jones works pretty
That's
well out of those. That's the
that's a
same
good
formation
play.
that
You
they
get a
ran
first
on the
down.
last play. That's actually
Exactly.
funny. This is the exact same play that they just ran, isn't it? I think
It
that they just
literally
ran
is the
that same
exact same
play.
play.
Right, same formation. Yep, it's the
Yeah.
same play. Saquon goes to the flat, and Slayton goes over the middle. This time, the safety plays further back, and Engram is open on this stick route.
Yep.
So
They're
this
playing a
was
soft
just
zone there,
yeah. So
and they
this
just yeah.
was
He has
just
two targets here. He has
Jones
Saquon
just
in the
knew where
flat,
to go with
or
the
yeah,
ball. Yeah, no,
exactly.
this was a good play here.
Yeah, like this. Get the first down. Now you're in a position to score.
But I still,
That was
I
just
just, I'm still not a big fan of putting Engram on all of these stick routes that they do all the time, though. And I think on
right.
this very next play is another one where he does that, and we're going to see why it could be a problem.
Yeah. So that was all the targets for Ingram in game one. Now we're in week two against Chicago.
Hmm.
And we're seeing Ingram in the slot again. He slips. That's completely. I mean, you could say it's Ingram's fault. It happens to the best of them. People slip.
Right. So actually, rewind this because I want to see the route combination on the top of the screen here because I feel like they're in the
They have
empty
Shep.
backfield. They're in the empty backfield again. So
Mhm.
let's see here. It's not the exact same formation, but it's
Right.
similar.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So I think what happened here is
He's stuck in his first read again.
Engram goes inside, right? I think it's a tight end option and he has to read how the defender's playing. And Engram reads it and goes inside over the middle. And I
Okay.
think the way that Jones read it is for him to go outside and run a stick route towards the sideline. And I just think there was a miscommunication here, a bad read by Engram. And then of course, yes, he slips and he falls on his ass and it's an interception. And it's hard to fault Jones here because again, Engram is the hot read and he's open. So Jones delivers a
Yeah,
pass to
you
where
throw it.
Engram is supposed to be, but Engram's out of position because he slipped. So you know. But then you also look if he goes to the second read, you've got Shepard on this whip route, which is like a patented
Mhm.
freaking route for him.
He's amazing at those.
He's got some room to turn upfield too if he catches that. So
Yeah, oh yeah, he does have some room, but Ingram slips at the point of attack. What else? That's I'm gonna blame Ingram for that simply because, like you mentioned, that should have been a different decision. I think Dale Jones is
right.
going to the outside, and Ingram goes inside, and he just slips at the point of attack, and bam! I think
Right.
he's actually trying to turn around and get to it.
Yeah, I think he realized that he made the wrong option decision, and he tries to turn back to go the other way, but it's too little, too late. And then he slips.
Right.
And I know that was I remember that being a common theme in this game that there was a lot of slipping on this field. So
Yeah, it's also sod. It's not turf at
hmm
Soldier Field, so it does act a little bit differently. Yeah, he's diving back to get that.
yeah,
There's no way that was the right communication right there. Okay. They're running him out of the slot a ton, by the way. Almost
yeah.
every play he catches is out of the slot.
That's another just quick stick route. He's the hot read again, and they
Go
hit
back for
him.
a second
You know,
just to
I mean,
see.
that's just the main takeaway from that play is he's once again running a stick route. This time he runs it correctly, and he runs it towards the sideline. And you
There you
know,
go.
yeah, that's a good throw too. Fire it in there. It's tight coverage.
This is just trying to force the ball in there. You see DJ double clutch that ball,
Yeah, I wish
and
that we could see
it was covered up.
the full look of the field there because I feel like he had someone else that he wanted to go to and he pulled it down and I'm curious to know
Yeah.
why, but
You know what we'll do this every week. We'll look at specific players on the all 22 and we'll have the full field
yeah.
view
Yeah,
and
the all
we'll
22 will
target
help.
we'll find out we'll ask you guys who you want to see, what specific players you want to be you want to single out, and we will take a look at those guys. Another right to the
Yeah,
sticks.
another he's the hot read and he's running a stick route. This is a theme in this
This is,
offense.
yep,
That's
bread
when he
and
gets
butter
his
for D.
targets.
Yep. This is Jason Garrett's bread and butter. This is what he did with
That was,
Jason Witten.
and then that was a good throw and a good catch, so you could say that.
Yep, little play
Right
action,
here. Yeah.
just underneath. He just picks underneath,
Okay,
gets the
yeah.
first down.
Now see this is I love this. This is something that I really really enjoy here because if you watch how this play begins, he starts as a pass protector.
Right, I'll go back.
You know,
Yep, he's on the outside.
right, but if you watch
He's just
here,
chipping. Yeah.
he gets into pass
I'm
protection
not even
stance.
do anything. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. It's like a fake, and then so
Yeah.
nobody guards
It's
him, and he
delayed.
just slips
It's a delayed
underneath.
route.
It's like a chip and release, but he doesn't chip because nobody blitzes. If somebody blitzes, I promise you he would block the guy, but nobody did, so he just was able to sit there and then get underneath. But I really like routes to Engram underneath where he can catch the ball in stride and get a full head of steam because you see with Caden Smith running that route, it's probably a 5 yard game, but with Engram, he turned it into a first down with his athleticism.
So here you got DJ, 2nd and 18, pushing the ball downfield a little bit, picking up 8-9 yards. That I like this right here. I like them kind of pushing the field a little bit, shortening that first down distance to about 3rd and 10. We've seen too many 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 20s over the past few years with penalties. The one thing I'll give the offensive line credit for is they have not been penalized a lot. I think that's mainly because they're being beat so quickly they don't even have a time to hold on. But for the most part, I like this route right here. I know you also agree. Getting him into space is ideal. It's a hot route. They're focusing on Evan Engram in this play specifically.
Yeah, I just think the other takeaway that you have to take from this play is again, it's Evan Engram is the hot read. He is the first read, and he gets the ball here. It's just that is how Jason Garrett's offense operates, with the tight end being the number one read on every single play, and that's really why you know when we say that we want to see him get traded, if fans say that and the Giants say that they don't want to because he is their biggest playmaker on offense, it's because the whole offense runs through the tight end position. The first read is always Evan Engram or whichever tight end is in there. And if that's the first read every single time, do you really want Caden Smith to be the first read every single time? I'm not so sure
Right.
about that. So I do understand why they do feel like it's necessary to keep Evan Engram on this roster.
Right. Okay. So that makes more sense, when you're thinking about their desire to keep him and their kind of vagueness about trading him and why they are kind of refraining from selling him out to other teams and like kind of listening to offers. I think always listening is a good idea. Gettleman doesn't tend to like to do that. But I think that's what separates good from bad GMs. Good GMs always hear what other teams are offering for your players.
Mhm.
Even if it's your best player, if they're going to give you an offer you can't decline, you take it. If someone came to you and said, "We'll give you a second rounder for Evan Engram right now," you take that pick. You take a second round pick. Okay, like that's just overvaluing. But again, like you said, these are straight up hot reads. These are plays designed for the tight end, and they trust Ingram more than they do Caden Smith because you can't run out Caden Smith on a play by play basis and expect him to make wow moments, wow plays, and run 75 yards against the Bucks, like Ingram did last year, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
So here we go with the next one. We got DJ pretty much just right in the flat, just picking up the first down. That I like this play, and I know you do too because it's really just
Yeah.
getting him into space and allowing him to pick up the first down.
Right. This is again, like I was saying earlier, when you throw to the flat, you usually pick up a couple yards, but you see Evan Engram, as soon as he gets the ball, he attacks it and he just bursts. He's got crazy acceleration and speed, and he's able to pick up a lot more yardage than most guys would on a play like this. He had no problem cruising past the first down line and just gaining a little bit of extra yardage after that. And this is 3rd and 10. You throw to the
Mhm.
flat, he gains all that yardage. That's really where his athleticism comes into play.
And this is another great example of his athleticism and what he can do in one-on-one coverage if you can get him the ball. We're going to go back to this play. This was his final catch against the Bears. So pretty decent pocket. He's pretty much draped over by the defender
Mhm.
here. The defender has him
It's a
in
good throw
pretty
too.
good position. Very good throw to the outside, away from the defender, and it's great because he breaks this tackle and he picks up an extra 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 yards.
Yeah, and
That's a
rewind
very
that a little bit, just a little bit to when he's getting the ball after the catch. If you just notice right here when he makes this turn, look at how low his center of gravity is in this change of direction on this. This is not normal
mhm,
from the tight end
for a
position
tight end.
to see a tight end get this low to the ground and cut because he's about to make a cut towards the middle of the field here. Tight ends aren't supposed to be able to do this where they can cut like that.
Right.
This is where Engram is just so special. If you get the ball in his hands and in space after the catch, he can really do a lot of special things. Even here, he was completely covered and it wasn't getting the ball in space. He just made a nice catch
Mhm.
and he was able to run with it. And having the ball in his hands is just, he is special when the
It's
ball is in his
lethal.
hands from his position. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and watching this video and really diving into the film now, it gives you a different perspective on Ingram. It's going to make you appreciate what he actually does bring to the team, and how they were kind of misusing him. We're always going to remember the big drop against Philly. That's always going to be in the back of our minds when we think, what is he bringing to this team now? If he can't catch, what can he do? Because that's really what he's capable of doing. If you can get the ball into his hands, and Anthony's hit on this multiple times, he just stonewalls the ball sometimes. Like he just doesn't know how to catch well. But if you can get
Mhm.
the ball in his hands, this is what he's capable of doing. He can pick up, the first down, 10 yards, and plus another 13. That's a 23
Yeah,
yard reception right there.
yeah.
That's something you don't see very often. Now we're over to the 49ers game, which you know what happens in this game. The Giants get mauled in the second half, but this is the big drop that we all clamored about. This is where the turnovers come into play, and what we're going to see. We're going to watch this a couple times and see kind of what happened here. Now, you could say that Daniel Jones had a poor pitch on this play. Could have been better, and it absolutely could have. But for a tight end who was expected to catch the football, you expect him to catch this ball. He's a professional athlete. You can't drop that ball, in my opinion.
Right, and this is one of those plays where if it works, you love it. If it doesn't, you hate it. It worked against Dallas, and we loved it. It was a pretty awesome play. That's how Engram got his only touchdown of the season so far. I believe that's his only one. The rushing touchdown against Dallas, same exact play. But here the pitch is bad, and it results in a fumble. The only thing that I think I can see here that maybe you can just like cut him some slack for is if you watch the left tackle, I believe, is the one who got blown up. Number 96 looks like he's about to crash down. And I think Evan
Mhm.
Engram, I think he was, falling into the habit of getting ready to run before he has the ball in his hands. And he's looking
Yeah,
and he sees
definitely.
96. I think he sees 96 and his body's telling him he needs to change directions and get out of the way or get,
Right.
around 96. So I think he's just, doing too much here. He didn't secure the catch and he was ready and eager to run. But I also think he's just so fast. I don't think Jones thought he was
He
going to
ran
be there
past
when he
it.
pitched it. He pitched it, and he was like, "Oh, Engram was just too fast and ran right through the ball." So the pitch definitely could have been better. But to me, I do put this on Engram. I feel like this is something that you have to catch. It's literally a 2 foot pass, a pitch. It was a little high, but it's manageable. You can catch this. You can run, And if he makes 96 miss, he's got plenty of room to run after that. Look at how this is a great play design because they've got Cam Fleming pulling on the right side. So they're drawing a couple of those linebackers over to the right side while they have Engram coming in the misdirection on the left side. So it's just 96 is sealing the edge there. And Andrew Thomas does a good job getting to the second level there and hitting that cornerback. And I think that's Nick Gates as well as getting to the second level. So it's really just if Caden Smith can chip 96 while Engram gets his ball in stride, there's really nobody on the left side of the field that's going to stop him. This could be a house call. But just that one subtle miscommunication in terms of the pitch here is really a killer. It
Yeah,
blows up what could have been an amazing play.
of
This
course,
is
that
great
it's
play
a drive
design.
killer.
Great play design.
It is. It is. And now here's the concept that's like Evan Engram, he drops some passes, right? But if you can get the ball to him in a running back type of scenario like this, basically just a pitch pass, cracker on the edge, you expect him to make this catch, and you're basically getting him into space. The entire idea with Evan Engram is if you can get the ball in his hands into space, he can make things happen. Now, if you can't catch a 2-yard pass, that's where things are a little questionable. However,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, it could have been a better pitch. He was basically running past the ball,
Yeah.
but it basically just stonewalls his hand. Like, I mean, if you really want to watch it again, it literally just bam, like right off his hand. Like you
Yeah.
have to have a little bit more control over the ball there. You got to be looking at the ball. I
Right.
don't even think he was looking at the ball like you mentioned. Like look at his head.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
he's
he's just
looking in
getting
front of
ready.
him.
I think he's getting ready to go because he sees 96 crashing down, and he realizes that he has to get
Yeah,
by that guy. Because it was
yeah,
Caden Smith who whiffed on the block on 96. If Caden Smith makes a better block there, you're talking about a big gain for Engram. But
a big
if you
game.
rewind this just a little further and get it so it's paused a little further, like right when the pitch is happening. Okay, yeah, right there. Little further forward now. If you could see look at the defensive backs on the right side of the field, so the top of the screen, how they're all keyed in on Wayne Gallman.
Hmm.
I'm making this point to say that Jason Garrett, while his offense has received a lot of criticism, the execution has also been a problem because all those defensive backs are keyed in on Wayne Gallman, and they all crash to the left side of their formation, to the right side of the Giants formation to try and stop Gallman. There's no excuse for this. This should have been a huge gain to Engram. This misdirection was perfectly designed, just really poorly executed.
Yep, that's all we can pretty much derive from this play right here. Just bam.
Just poor
You
execution,
can't.
man.
At this point in the season, we can't see any more things like this. That's all I have to say. No more miscues like this. Okay, moving on. Again, Ingram in the slot. Love that. In the flat, bam. Beautiful. They should do this every freaking play.
Yeah, here's that play though. I'll point this out too because it's another just stick route. Get to the sticks
Hmm.
and turn around. But I got to throw just a little bit of criticism here because I get why he does this because he's trying to make sure that they're getting past the first down marker. But he's drifting upfield when he's coming out of this cut, and you can't be doing that because you see here it's a good throw, so it doesn't happen. But Fred Warner has an opportunity to
To
maybe
undercut it.
undercut that route, and
Right.
it's
He does it.
Engram is just he's floating upfield. He's got to just
Mhm.
cut sharp and come back to the football, especially with how fast he is. As soon as he gets the ball, he can definitely fall forward and get the first down. So I just
Right.
a
And you're
little
going to see
criticism
it.
there, but yeah,
You're
but
going to
this is
see
a good
Fred
play
Warner
though. This is a
intercept
good
him.
play.
You're going to see
Yes.
Fred Warner identify this almost exact play a little bit later in the game, and you're going to see him undercut it and intercept it.
Right. Right. Well, with how often they run this play, this stick route to Engram, like I've said, it's the hot read.
Eventually, you're
It's the
going to get
number
caught.
one read every single play is he looks to Engram
Hmm.
and then he moves to a second read.
That's the
Right
play.
here. Yeah, right here. It was second and 10. I mean, there's no need to force this football though.
Good
This is
adjustments,
on
though.
Jones. This is on
Good
Jones.
adjustment.
I don't put this on. Yeah, this is Fred Warner is one of the best inside linebackers in the NFL. He doesn't get the credit for it really, but he really is. He holds that defense together. He's super talented. Going into this game, we were all talking about how they were depleted on defense because there was no Richard Sherman, there was no Nick Bosa, but really they still had Fred Warner out there, and that guy is an elite playmaker.
Yep, and
That camera.
this was actually exactly what happened. This is exactly what you just said. Look, he drifts up,
Yeah,
undercut,
yeah,
bam,
yeah, you
it's
can
done.
see that.
Like
Look at how he drifted up the field there, and that's not how you're supposed to run that route. That line, that white line right there where the yellow line happens to be,
right here,
that white
he
line,
should cut
actually
right
not even
inside.
there. Yeah, that where his toes are right now, he should be on a parallel line to the
Hmm.
sideline there. and he's not. But I still, either way, although he didn't run the route very well, it's not a good ball. It's a bad throw and it's a bad
It
decision.
is.
Like Jones should be able to recognize that Warner's about to undercut this, but look at how he just drifted an extra 2 yards upfield. This could have been an incompletion, but now he has to work back to the football. Look at how he's coming back to the ball here,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's undercut.
bad read.
So bad read, but also bad route. It's a
Yep.
combination of two things,
Even
two
if
really bad
even if he
things.
runs this route correctly, though, I'm not convinced that he
At
gets this
at the
anyway.
best, it's an incompletion. At the best, it's
At
an
the best,
incompletion.
yeah. So there's fault on both sides here.
Correct.
Okay, let's
But
see
I,
what
I
we
think
got in a
more of the
slot
fault
again.
is that it was predictable at that point because they do that route all the
Right.
time. It shows up on the film.
Now, I really like this. I really like that last play
I
because
like this by
this,
Jones.
yes, me too. And also because Evan Engram doesn't give up on the play. He comes all the way to the opposite side of the field and gives his quarterback a chance to make a play. Right? He just essentially just turns this into a drag, kind of right across.
Yeah. And one thing I'll point out here is they rushed six. The 49ers defense rushed six. And
They did good.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
The
no,
offensive
no, the
line.
pass protection was phenomenal there. I saw a key block by Nick Gates and even by Andrew Thomas, I think did a pretty solid job here. Um, the pass protection was really good, and Daniel Jones
Hmm.
hangs in there. He
Thomas
just
does
hangs
well.
in the
Yeah.
pocket, waits and waits and waits, knows that he can recognize that it's a zone defense, right? Jones
Right.
recognizes that this is a zone, and he knows that that drag route, if he has a time in the pocket and he just waits for it, it'll basically there's zones and there's little pockets between the zones. Engram's drag is going to eventually end up in one of those pockets between the zones, and it'll be a tight window that he's got to fire it in there. And so that's a play
Right.
by Daniel Jones where you're like, a lot of people question his decision making, but that's one of those plays. He's under pressure. There's a blitz coming, and he
Hmm.
just stands tall in the pocket,
Yep.
waits for it,
Trust his
moves
offensive
out of the
line.
pocket, makes sure he has space to throw the ball, waits, reads the field, finds the open guy. That's a great play by Daniel Jones. And I've said this before. I love Evan Engram on drag routes because his speed
Yep.
makes it really hard for people to keep up with him in man
You
coverage. But
can't
then
follow him.
if you get him in zone, sometimes he'll catch that and the zone will be open enough to where he can just take off with the ball
He
like
can
we
take it
saw
to the
against
house.
Tampa Bay last year.
Yep. Now this is just I really liked this play call because when you look at this play from the origin, you have basically their entire middle of the field stacked. And if you have Evan Engram, a tight end here, who's already down, he's not in the slot like we normally see in the past couple of targets. I would love him to see him just streak right up the middle of the field, run right past these linebackers. Instead, he does an out route, kind of like a deep out route towards the sticks. I really like that. Daniel Jones just simply misses the throw, but this was a great play call in my opinion.
This is a great play. This deep out route is perfect for Evan Engram. It's about a 15-yard out route. It's just Daniel Jones simply has to make a better throw here. This was a
Yeah, it was
game
just a
where
bad throw.
Jones really struggled. This was
Hmm.
not one of his better performances. This is one of his worst performances actually
Great
of his
pocket too.
career.
Fantastic
Yeah,
pocket.
it was a great pocket. He had all the pass protection you could ask for, and he just simply
Look
misses
at
this
this.
throw. And you just can't do that. You can't miss that throw.
Look at
That
this
was
pocket. Look at this pocket. Gorgeous. You couldn't have asked for better protection on this specific play.
no,
Daniel
that's
Jones hits
perfect. That's
this throw,
textbook.
DJ hits this throw 90% of the time, I'd say, maybe even more. He doesn't miss this throw very often. But what I will
Yeah,
say, and
it's a
something
big
we've
miss
talked
though.
about, it's a big miss. It's a game changer. This kind of miss right here. If you're a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, expected to be, you got to make this throw. And
Definitely.
to add to that, it is known that he's way better up toward the middle of the field than toward the boundary, right?
That is
It
also
is
true.
known. He is not good at throwing toward the boundary. He is way better at throwing toward the middle of the field. We have actually seen in the past couple of weeks make some incredible throws on the sidelines. You'll see it against Washington a little bit later, and with Evan Engram, he hits in the first play of the game, 21-yard reception. That was an awesome throw. Great bootleg action. But this one, this is a staller. You
Yeah, it
can't
got
miss
away
that.
from him. That's a throw that gets you down inside the red zone and in really good scoring position. He's got to hit that
Right. By the way, the pass protection looks phenomenal so far.
on
From
these
from what
past
we have
couple plays. Yeah,
seen
it's been
on
really
these
good.
past couple of plays, it has been very,
Hmm.
very good. Like,
It
just take a
has.
look at this. They also
You
max protect almost there. They
yeah.
they just split out Evan Engram
No,
right
but that
toward
was
him.
an excellent job by Matt Parrott there too at left tackle. I don't know if you saw that.
Let's
He
check it out.
stonewalled the blitz and edge rusher. So yeah, Engram chips and then goes out for a route. Engram's chip actually did a lot there. It gave
Yep.
a lot more time for Parrott to get in position. But then once that
Yep.
rusher got there, Parrott stonewalled him completely. And that's another thing, though. I really like that play too. I like a chip and release for Evan Engram. I think that's really maximizes his skill set because he's not a good blocker. But if you chip, obviously that helps your left tackle, your rookie left tackle who doesn't know what he's doing, as well as a veteran would. So the chip helps him, and then Engram looks like he's just in pass protection and blocking. So somebody might not
Mhm.
recognize him, so he sneaks out into the flat. And then we've said time and time again, just get on the ball in space underneath, and you never know what can happen with Evan Engram with all the athleticism that he has. So this is
Yep,
another
and
great play.
Engram's actually a very good pass blocker. He just doesn't do it very often. So
Right.
in his limited reps, he is pretty successful in chipping, which we see here. He does a pretty good job just
No,
delaying
that
that play
that is textbook.
significantly.
That's a great chip, and then he
Yep,
feels the open part of the field, and he sits down there. That's a great play
yep.
by Engram.
At that point, they're just playing soft zone anyway because they're up so much. They're just keeping everything in
Right.
front of them.
That's true. That's also true.
Okay, so here, coming off the line of scrimmage, and that's just a blatant
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, I like him in motion there. I actually really like this play design. You have Tate coming across the formation in motion.
Yep.
It's a zone, so it doesn't really influence the defense that much. It would have done now if this was a man coverage, this would have been a much bigger play, right?
Yeah.
Well, the drop doesn't
Spread this
help, but it
perfectly
would have been
well.
a much bigger. There would have been a lot more on the table if this was a man, but
Mhm.
it was a zone. So I mean, really, what you put it down to though is this is a ball that
It's
needs to be caught.
phenomenal. It's a phenomenal
It's a
defensive
great
play,
play
though.
design. Yeah, whoever
The
I got to see this
discipline,
again. Whoever crashes
the
down though
discipline.
on this route gets
Mhm.
down there really fast.
Yeah, if you see over here, the discipline from the defenders of the Rams is you can't find
Yeah, I mean, the
defenses
guy
that
that you
have
just
that much
circled has
discipline
his
that
eyes
quickly.
on tape, but the guy next to him actually did have it on
Right.
well, that was Jalen
I'm sorry, I
Ramsey
went back
too.
a little
So
far.
Jalen Ramsey had his eyes on Tate, and
Right,
then as soon
right
as
here
he saw
though.
that Tate didn't have the ball, he
Yep,
snaps that head around and he crashes down on play. It's an excellent
yep.
defensive play. I mean, Jalen
I mean,
Ramsey,
he
we
is
all
one of the
know
best
he's an
defenders too.
all-pro. Yeah, he is.
He makes
But look
those.
at okay, where you just paused, it was perfect. You see number 18? Look at that. He's
Yes.
wide open. This is on Jones. That's a first down. That's because
Let's see.
so what they did here, what
I
Jason
think this
Garrett's
was
play call did
designed
here,
though
this is a low high read. The only reason he went with the low is because there's a man
because he
right
had
in
the
his
guy in his
face.
face.
Right.
Right.
But this is a low high read. What this is supposed to be is Engram isn't supposed to be open here. What they're doing is if Jalen Ramsey crashes down on this route, it's supposed to
They
go to
have a
number 18, which is
CJ
CJ
board.
Board. But because Jalen Ramsey crashed down, Engram is taken away, but he couldn't see that because he had a man in his face. But this ball is actually supposed to go to CJ Board. CJ Board's also a little
Right.
slow here. He was a little late getting to the sideline, so
Yeah, it
that
does seem
doesn't
that
help
way. I
either.
love this. Love the screenplays for Evan Engram, by the way.
I
Towards the
do
end.
too. I wish they would call them on more meaningful downs, not a third and
Yeah.
27, because I think that
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
play call where
Agreed.
on second and 7, this is a first down every single time. I do think
Yep.
that.
I mean, just look at this. I mean, this is just a toss, like throwaway play, essentially.
Yeah.
Give it to our best playmaker and see if he can do something miraculous.
Also, you got to see Zeitler get down the field sooner. I don't know what he was standing around for.
Siler
He
has not
turns
been that great this year.
he turns
I don't
around and
think he
looks
gets
the
the
other
scheme.
way. I
I
don't
don't
think
think he
so
gets the
either.
scheme yet.
Yeah, he turns and looks to the left side, and that's almost like, do you know the play call? Because the play call is a
He's looking
screen to
towards
the
Dion
right side.
Lewis.
So, yeah, no, he turns around like as if there's oh, you know what? Okay, I didn't notice that actually. I think this is like an option screenplay, so that's why Zeitler is
Maybe.
looking there.
Because you see
I
Will
wonder.
Hernandez also running over there
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So I guess it's a misdirection thing. Maybe not an option, maybe just a misdirection. But it looks like if
It's
this is
always
an
going to go to that
option,
strong side, though. If DJ's a
right? If
right-handed
it,
thrower, it's going to go to the strong side
yeah,
90% of the time.
which is the side that Aaron Donald is not about to hit him from. So yeah, of course,
Fair. That's fair enough.
Aaron Donald ate him alive on that play.
Yeah.
But I wonder why, if that is an option, why he didn't actually throw that to Dion Lewis, because it looked like he had a lot more space out in front of him.
It doesn't really matter. It's 3rd and 27.
That's true, but you know,
Yeah. And another play would have worked. So here's exactly the opposite of what he usually does. Instead of fading up toward the first down marker, he
he
actually fades
yeah,
back.
he did it right that time, and I'm not going to
This is too
criticize him
much.
for it either because it's second down. So this is what you're supposed to do on second down. You're supposed to come down
Right.
back to the football. So this means that
That's fair.
somebody's coaching him and getting it better. And you also have to look at the time on the clock.
Freddie Kitchens,
Goal
baby.
here, the goal here is get to the football, like come back
Get
to the
out of
football on
bounds.
this route and get out of bounds. And he does that. And it's 3rd and 1. and they're inside of the 20-yard line after he catches this
Yeah, so you're
ball.
going for the field goal at this point. They're
So,
just trying to
yes,
get a few more yards.
this is exactly perfectly well done by Evan Engram there.
Yeah,
So he actually came back to the ball, which shows a little bit of progression.
I'll give you that. All right, DJ, see what you got.
Yeah, that's a
Okay, just
throwaway.
incomplete pass. Yeah, just
It's
a
a
throwaway.
throwaway. He just needed an intended receiver to give it to, so it's not a. You know, I
Nothing
mean, you have to
crazy.
throw it away there. You had to throw it away there in that situation. Just take the field goal.
Right. Yeah, right in the flat again. And that's what you get with Evan Engram though.
Right. That's
That's
my
why
thing.
they want him.
That's why I'm
This
pounding
is
this
why they
drum
keep him.
because you look
Yep.
at him get into this flat. This should be a 3-yard gain. This should not go for a first down. He makes a guy
Yep. He
miss,
breaks
and
his
he's just
tackle.
so fast. Watch him turn on the Jets here. Yeah. See,
If
that's
that
what you
guy's
love
not there,
about
that
Evan
could be a
Engram.
touchdown.
Yep, that's what you love about Engram, man.
Yep.
That's what's
Watch it one
special
more
about
time.
him. That athletic
Yep.
ability from his position is really
All he needs
unheard
to do
of.
is get him the ball. That's the thing, though. That's what we keep banging the drum. As long as you can get him the ball in space, he can do things that no other tight ends can really do, except for very few. George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller. There's not many that can do these type of things when you get the ball in space. The problem is he's not the best pass catcher, just an athletic freak.
Right.
Okay, let's see about another
So
drag
here's a nice
route.
drag route. Right.
Love it.
Everything that we've been pounding the table for, we're seeing in this film, and it's always on the positive.
It's getting
play
better,
design.
though, every week. Every week it's getting
It
better,
is
though. You
true.
see it.
That is true. I think everybody who's watching
Week
this should
4.
realize week to week we're seeing a lot of improvement with Evan Engram's play on this film, especially with
Yep.
coming back to the football on that 2nd and 7.
Love it.
And
This
now
is
here we're
great.
seeing this drag route. We've seen 2 targets in a row where he catches the ball in the flat and just turns
Yep.
upfield and gains a lot of additional yardage with his athleticism.
Yep. I just want to point out one thing, too. Look at Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton takes out 2 players right here, giving because otherwise this linebacker sees Evan Engram and he man marks him across.
Mm-hmm.
But he essentially takes him out of
it's the play design is excellent.
Yeah, essentially Darius Slayton takes him out of this play, and then by the time this linebacker turns to look at Evan Engram, he's already 5 yards past him. Look at this.
Yeah.
Bam. That's great.
Yeah, that was a great play design.
You could tell he was going to man him too because he ran across the field to chase him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Simple drop.
Once again, you're going to see Daniel Jones. It's the hot read is Evan Engram. He is the first read on this play. Jones locks into Engram and just throws it. And that is not a good throw. That is not a good throw. That is a bad decision. I mean, they're just sitting on that. They're sitting on that. They're ready for that.
They're just spying it, and they see it all the way.
And it's also 2nd and 15. I don't know. Engram's calling for a foul. Actually, you know what? Rewind that one more time because I watched this earlier when I was preparing for this, and I noticed something. Watch how Evan Engram runs this route. Watch when he catches this ball. Did you see that step that he takes before the ball is delivered? He jumps backwards. He actually tries to draw
the foul.
pass interference. Yeah, that's what I noticed when I watched this earlier. He was trying to draw a pass interference.
He just wasn't there yet.
Yeah. So I mean, that's bang bang. He might get the call for that. He might not, but he was trying to get the call. He was really trying to.
Right. So here you see him coming out of the slot again. 1st and 10. That's a good pickup.
And you see him come back to the football on that out route, which is exactly what you want to see, like we were saying. He comes back to the ball. It's a tight coverage, and he's able to, make a really strong catch.
The forward momentum. All right, and here we go to the end arounds again, which I am totally fine with. Look what he does, though. This is what he does. If you get him the ball and he doesn't drop it, he is super athletic, and he can do crazy stuff like this, like completely outrun the defender who sees him the entire way. They know this play is coming. They still do.
This is the exact same play that they did against San Francisco because if you watch it, you could see them. It's a fake handoff to Wayne Gallman on the right side, right? And watch the defense key in on Wayne Gallman. See that? Pause that there. Look at how there's a big pile on Wayne Gallman up there. And you can see that the misdirection works. And then, like I said last time, it was 96 on the 49ers, right? It was that one guy who crashes down was the one guy that Engram needs to beat. It's the exact same thing here. He has one guy to beat. Engram toasts him, puts butter on the toast, and goes into the end zone.
By the way, something I've noticed that he does, he knows how fast he is. And the reason you can tell is because a lot of times he will actually go backward to go forward, right? So you'll see here, he's not the type of guy that's going to go, okay, I'm going to run right through this tackler. He knows he's not going to break this tackle. He says, okay, I'm going to go backward, and now I'm going to go forward. So
And
he
this is
knows how
also
fast he
though,
is.
it's also like a 320-pound defensive lineman. He
Right, you're not
should
getting
be
through.
able to, you know what I mean? Like he knows he's
Yeah.
outrunning that guy. He knows his
But that
strength
route that we
there.
saw, that route that we saw in the flat when they were trying to get the field goal against, I think it was Chicago. That route that he goes backward and then goes towards the sidelines, he knows he's fast enough to make it there without getting hit.
Hmm.
So we're
Right.
seeing that from him, which I like. He understands his strength.
He's working out of the slot again here.
That
It's
was red
another
the whole way.
stick route.
That should have been an
Yeah,
interception.
it's another instance of this is a stick route. It's the first read. It's Evan Engram.
It's Jason Garrett's old
You,
team. They know what's
the
coming.
defense knows what's coming. Like everyone knows what's coming. Daniel Jones makes it so obvious. Look, if you rewind it again, watch Daniel Jones's head on this play. As soon as he gets the ball, he's
I
looking
think
one
his
way the
first read was
entire
actually
time.
Smith. I think his first read was actually Caden Smith.
It's okay. So what's
Watch, so
happening
watch
here
this.
is
He
they're
looks over to Caden
flooding.
Smith right now.
Yes, they're flooding the left flat, and what he's doing actually is I don't think he's necessarily staring down Caden, but he's staring down the flat area, right? He's seeing how the
Right.
defense is reacting, and he's seeing that Caden Smith isn't going to be open, so he's moving to Engram on this stick route.
Yeah,
But
they're not
here's
playing the
my
press.
real problem is this is just a really poor play design, I think, on
Yeah,
second and
there's too
8
many
to just
bunches. There's too many
there's
people.
they're flooding the flat, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of this call.
Because look,
But
if you push Ingram up right here through this, you can throw this over top.
yeah, exactly,
There's
and
no way this guy is catching him.
also, what I want to point out is if you look at the bottom of the screen, you have Slayton here, and he's running. He's gonna run like an in route, like about a 10-yard in. But if he takes that and he makes it more of a post, and he gets
Hmm.
behind, if he
Yeah,
gets behind
across the
Jalen
middle.
Smith here over the middle, that's a huge gain. And Jones has a clean pocket. He is all day. There's no need to force this
Yeah.
ball.
Also, think about this:
Bad throw.
If you take Evan Ingram and you streak him up the middle, and you have a free safety back there, and you take, like you just said, you'd make this more of a post behind this second level right here. You
Yeah,
have an easy throw because you push that secondary, you push that free safety back, and then you have a more a bigger space to throw to Slayton.
yeah.
And he has a look at Jones. He has a great pocket right here. There's no one close to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect pocket, and this actually maybe could have been a post by Slayton coming. We just, as soon as he saw that Daniel Jones was getting the ball out of his hand, he pulls up on the route. So,
Yeah, that's
it
fair.
could have been.
It does look like that. Does look like what he was doing.
Yeah,
I
it
just
was
don't. I
definitely a
don't think.
slant. I don't know if it was going to be a skinny post or not, but
Yeah, I think
also
he
that should
should
have
have
been a
went Caden
flag. You
Smith
can't
on
kick the
that.
ball like that. That should be taunting or something. You should have gotten the first down.
We'll take anything we can get at this point.
Exactly.
Okay, another little run play by Ingram. Love these.
Hmm.
100% fine with these. They pick up at least 6 or 7 yards on every single one of these that I've seen
Yep.
so far, as long as he catches it.
As long as it's not a fumble.
As long as it's not
But
a
yeah,
fumble. But this one,
I'm a
you
big
literally
fan of
can't
this
drop.
stuff. You send them in motion, and
Because they do it a lot. They send him in motion so much, you have to
that's
pick the right timing.
that was a really good block by Cam Fleming there. He got out in front of Jalen Smith, who I remember was wreaking havoc on our running game in this game.
Yep. I like the bootleg. I like the
Yeah,
rollout to the left
that's a
side.
great play
This is
by
great.
Jones as well. He's going against the grain here.
Yep. He's rolling out to the weak
It's
side,
another
and
it's
then
another
bam,
check and
release.
release
Yep.
from Engram. He gets into the flat.
This
That's a
is
great
great.
play.
We saw
Only
this so much with Jason Witten and Jason Garrett over the years.
yeah.
So much.
Only problem I have with this play though is that's really your only route in terms of the
Yeah.
play design.
If
That's
it's
all he
gone, you're
had there.
screwed.
If that's not there, it's probably the plan is for Evan Engram
You're
to
running.
block, and Jones is going to have
Yep.
to take off. So
That's right.
I guess that's
Right.
really what that was.
Exactly.
Man, his speed is unbelievable.
It's elite. It's elite. Now we're on to Washington.
It is an elite trait.
But think about this. We saw about 4 plays for Ingram during the Dallas game. He really did not get that active, aside from the touchdown. They didn't push him down the field. We're talking about a secondary for Dallas that is one of the worst in history, and they did not push him down the field much at all, which is a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to last season, week 2, I believe, week 1 or 2, when we played in Dallas, he had I think 12 targets, 13 targets when Eli Manning was starting at quarterback. I think he had 100 yards. He had a touchdown. It was just he was the focal point of the offense, but in a completely different way from how he is in this offense. In this offense,
Right.
a lot of it is that underneath stick route and hitch route and all that stuff. But in that other offense, in Pat Shermer's offense, it was, there was more of an emphasis on getting him the ball in space and getting him the ball deep.
Right. All right, let's see what we got here. Now, this is the play I love. This is the one we got to see more. Bam.
This is something
Beautiful.
that Shermer did a lot. This is something that Shermer would do all the time.
Little bootleg. Play action. Bam. Roll it out.
Yeah,
And
it's a
he's wide open. This
counter
is
play
great.
action too. I actually like
Yep.
that too. It was a play action counter run. If
Yep. I love it.
you
That was
watch that,
beautiful.
it's a
Very
counter.
nicely
That's a
executed.
really good block by Zeitler there too in the
Yep.
backfield. And then,
So 21
Engram just gets
yards.
wide open.
21 yards on the first play for the Giants
Mhm.
against Washington. You want to know how many targets and receptions he had after that?
Let's hear it.
Two catches for 9 yards after this gorgeous first play. Where the hell does Evan Engram go the whole game? They could just keep feeding him,
Beats me,
keep feeding
man.
him.
Beats me.
They don't need to. They have so much. We've seen how much they've done with him. The check and releases, the screen passes, the drag routes, the streak routes. He's just disappearing in the middle of the game for no reason. But it's getting better though. You'll see this against Philly. You'll see a few more reps against Philly that are better.
We're seeing improvement for sure. Here's another drag route where he just sits down in the open spot of the zone and he gets a first
Yep.
down. So I like to see that too.
Yep.
You
Very
know,
nice.
I like those
We'll see
drags
him
when he
now. He's in the
sits in those
slot
open
here.
spaces.
Bam. And that was an incompletion. That was the only 2 targets he had for the rest of the game.
Was that batted at the
But
line of scrimmage? Is that what that was?
it was. It was.
Okay. Because this
But it was
is
a good throw.
I do love this play design though. This is an RPO where you
Mhm.
have Engram working out of the slot running a slant route. And that's dangerous, dude. That is deadly. Because if you
Yes.
get Engram running a slant route there, because they blitz, they bring the house. That's a what?
They see, and Jones
That's a
sees all of them blitzing. He knows he has him underneath on
that's a
that slant.
7-man pass rush. A 7-man pass rush that's coming
He's
after him.
just so slow out of the slant, though,
Yeah.
man. Look how slow he is out of the slant. He almost looks like he takes a false step right at the
Yeah,
break.
I'll agree.
Look at
Actually,
this.
I didn't want to agree, but I will agree. He kind of like slows up on the route, and I'm not exactly sure why. I feel like if he starts booking this thing and really
Yeah,
gets
he should
underneath
stick his
this,
foot.
yeah, and
He should
plant and just
stick his
go.
foot in the ground and just go. Because right now,
And
look how slow he breaks out of this. And if
and
he's further along, by the way,
right.
DJ throws this ball and
That's
it's
what
not
I was
batted
gonna
down.
say. That's what I was gonna say because there's 2 windows to throw to. You got the window on a slant route. You have the first window where it's right out of the break, and then you have the second window where it's a
Yep.
little longer after the break. And so the way that the passing
And it's
lanes open
behind
up
him.
between the tackle and the guard, well, it's behind him because I think it was because it was deflected. But yeah,
Right.
this is a great play design. It's just it was bad at the line of scrimmage. But this is
It looks like
he
he was
has
already reaching behind him
if
anyway.
he gets this catch, if he gets this catch
Just
in
a second
stride,
ago.
though, he has by far a first down. This is probably a 30-yard game
Yeah.
if he catches
Yeah.
this and runs it.
I think that this should be a little bit faster out of this break right here. He should turn and he should stick his foot in the ground and just bolt across the line. Like
Well, the
almost not
route
parallel, but on an angle.
the route running isn't the best from him. He's got to work on it.
Yeah. That's why he runs those streak routes, though. That's why he's so good at those. He runs vertically. He is fast as hell. He can burn anyone that comes up against him, and we're going to see it right in this next few clips.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Certainly will.
Great. We love
Another
this.
handoff.
Another
I
one.
do like that, and that's pretty good vision out of a tight end too to recognize where the hole is and to hit it.
Yep.
Because it looked like he's going to take it outside, but he actually recognizes that Caden Smith laid out a perfect block there, so he cuts it upfield. That's a good play by Engram.
Yep. 3rd and 7. Let's see what they do here. This time he's actually the outside receiver, by the way.
Right. Right. Here's my thing with this play. You have to, in order to understand this play, you have to look at the left side of the field and watch these routes. So play it real quickly and just watch the left side of the field. And look at how every single wide receiver, they all just run straight.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're clearing that out for him underneath.
All they're doing is running straight as a clear out. And then what's going to happen is if Engram catches this, and unfortunately, the way that Philadelphia played this, it's really the play design isn't going to work. But the idea is with those 3 receivers pushing down the field to get those defensive backs out of the way, if Engram comes underneath here and catches this ball and gets a full head of steam, he has 3 lead blockers for him. And it's basically like a screen in a way. And he has 3 lead blockers and he can go and he can pick up a lot of yardage. But that's why the ball comes out so fast.
Yeah,
right?
they know that they're playing man. They're dropping right on it.
I think, well, look, because they're stuffing the A gap here. They've got double A gap, double linebackers in the A gap. So if they blitz, this is wide open to Engram. He's got underneath, and then these 3 receivers are blocking, and this is a house call. But what happens is those 2 linebackers drop back, and This is on Daniel Jones. He does not see that. He doesn't recognize that the two linebackers drop back. He throws this ball anyway. Evan
Very
Engram
interesting.
alligator arms it, and it becomes a drop and then an interception. So that's on Engram. He's got to catch that ball and at least gain a couple yards
Yeah.
here. But
I love this defensive play call though. They have man
no,
coverage
that
and
yeah,
zone
yeah, no,
in
this
one. So
is
they have on the bottom of the field here. They have these three receivers on the left side all manned up. They have these two linebackers here on the A gap. They have them dropping back into a zone like cushion coverage. And then you have Evan Engram taking this underneath route because they know that you don't see Evan Engram on the outside very often, right? They know that if he's on the outside, they're probably going to run him underneath because he rarely goes to the outside if he's on the boundary.
right. And Caden Smith's route is he's lined up in front of Engram. His idea is to clear out that defensive
Those
back.
two guys, yeah, that
It's
way.
really
He thought it was
it's
going to be
just
solo.
because okay, so imagine that those two linebackers that we're seeing in the middle of the field there. Imagine if they aren't there, how much space you have all over the middle of this
Right,
field for Evan
that's a
Engram to
potential
run with.
touchdown.
So it is a potential huge play, but Philly drops back. They drop those two linebackers back. But the problem here though, too, because while I love this play call if it works correctly, this is the one and only route that Daniel Jones has to throw to, and that's why he throws it. It's a hot route. He is the only primary receiver on this play because it's essentially a screen. Nobody else is expecting to get the ball. This is going to Engram, and then he's running with it. The problem
Right.
is Philly played the perfect defense to stop this. And when the ball hit his hands, I guess he wasn't ready for it. But the idea was
Well, yeah,
Jones sent a piss missile in there. He sent the heater into Engram
yeah.
because what Engram's supposed to do, Engram slows down because he sees the linebacker drop back, so he's not ready for it. But if that
He needs to
linebacker's not
just go
there,
commit to it.
Engram runs right through that ball,
It's a
catches
lack of
it, and has a
discipline,
huge
though.
gain.
There's
That's
three
why that ball
things.
came out so hot, and that it was supposed
Right.
to come out that hot. That's the play design.
There's three things here that I want to hit on. One is that Engram is too slow out of this. He needs to be committed to it. This is his play. This is designed to go to him, right? Like
Well,
it's
I'll
almost
say
instant.
this. I think the only reason he's a little slow is because I think
He
he's
wants to
reading
clear
what
him out.
he's reading what the linebackers are doing, and he's waiting for Caden Smith to clear out. So you got to wait for
Right.
Caden Smith to get a little further downfield, so that because Engram's too fast. If he gets right off the line of scrimmage, that
But that's the
cornerback
thing,
can
though.
undercut Caden Smith.
I don't think they anticipated those two linebackers dropping back into coverage.
They didn't. They
That's
thought
why
it
they're
was a
getting this
blitz.
ball. Right. They thought it was a blitz. But here's the thing. Right here, I don't think he actually sees the ball. I think that Cam Fleming and that he's engaged, and I think Evan Engram is perfectly angled up behind them. I don't think he sees the ball coming out. Now watch this.
I
He
didn't
needs
think
to
of that.
commit
That's
to
a good point.
this. He needs to commit to this and run right through this. Because look what he does. He jumps in the air to try and catch this. He needs to run right through this route and catch this ball. He
Right.
needs to
And
anticipate this ball coming because he can't be doing this lollygagging. I'm gonna like watch this. I'm gonna jump in the air to try and catch this. That completely disrupted his route. He
right.
should be running straight through that.
If you watch him though, while he does this little jump catch thing, his eyes aren't on the football;
He
they're
braces for
on the
impact.
linebacker. They're on the linebacker. So
Yeah.
he alligator armed this catch because he knew that the contact was coming.
Yeah.
He's trying to brace for impact. That's why he's jumping into the ball like that because he saw that
But
the
this is
linebacker
where
drop.
he doesn't like feel his speed. You know, he needs to be committed. Like we've said, he
Right.
knows how fast he is. If he runs this route and is committed and disciplined, he catches this ball and he's
Yeah.
gone. You
If
know,
he runs through this ball, he can get underneath that linebacker fast
that's
enough to
right.
where the linebacker is going to try and arm tackle him. He's going to run right through that arm, and then he's got all that space underneath.
Because
So
he jumps in the air right here and it completely
yeah.
disrupts his timing. Look, if he catches this ball, he's already 3 yards past the linebacker.
Mhm.
That's my point.
Right. I don't know
This
why
is
he jumped.
completely just
He
I don't
alligator
know.
armed it.
That
I
kind
don't
of
know why
stuff.
he jumped.
This is what happens though. Interceptions, turnovers makes DJ look bad. It makes the whole team look bad. It stalls a drive. They're down 3 points. You don't know what happens
Right.
here.
But I'll say though, that's not I mean, it's the only throw, it's the only route on that play design, so it's the right read, but it's also the wrong read. Daniel Jones didn't
Yeah. It was doomed
anticipate
from the
those
beginning.
linebackers dropping back. That was just you have to give credit to Philly on that play. It was a
Yep.
great play call defensively.
Now we've seen this a few times with this rollout, Jason Garrett special,
Mhm.
and it looks like
It's Engram chips, and then he goes into the flat.
Yep.
But he chips really hard here, and he puts together
Really
a really
hard.
good block to seal the edge, which is a good.
Yep.
It's a job well done. But look at
The
Caden
right
Smith
side of
and
the
Evan
line
Engram.
doesn't know. I mean,
No,
look at the right
Caden
side of the
Smith.
line though.
Yeah, right. But also,
Watch
Caden Smith
this.
and Evan Engram run into each other. They run the same route, and they run into
I'm
each other.
Fleming, man.
Look at the two of them.
Oh, they
Look
do?
at Caden Smith
Let's
and
see.
Evan Engram. Watch. they're standing
Oh
on
my
top
god,
of each other. They just
that's just bad design and
yeah,
bad
bad
communication.
design, bad execution. This
Yep.
play was doomed from the start, even more so than the last play.
It looks like they both thought that they were the intended wide receiver. One of them should have been blocking. So
Hmm.
there you go. There's the result of that. That's also just scheme hiccups. They just don't know the scheme well enough yet. This is what we're talking about. All right, let's see here. This is a pass interference call.
Hmm. Yep, it's another stick route. He's the first read. He's the hot read.
I
That's
don't
all you can
mind
get the
these
ball
stick
to.
routes because he's all over him. You're 90% of the time when
No,
you're a
yeah.
guy all over you like that, you're gonna get the call.
I mean, that's a man-to-man coverage right there with the linebacker and a safety playing zone, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's a fine read to make, especially when you got a safety or cornerback matchup on your tight end. You want to beam it in there and hope he catches it, and he drew the pass interference call, so that's a
Here's the
job well
problem,
done.
though. He's not extending his arms to try and catch this ball. He's trying to corral it into his body, and he doesn't have the frame to
Right,
do that. He needs to keep his arms extended. But also, you
right,
can make
but
the argument that he's holding onto his
he's
arms.
being held, so I'm gonna give him a little benefit of the doubt there. But you do
Yeah,
make it
that's reasonable.
at least so. Well, also notice how his gloves aren't strapped in. I don't know if you could
Yeah,
see
I don't know
that.
what that
You
is
could
about.
see
Yeah,
it.
you can
His
see right
gloves
there.
aren't strapped in. They never
Right
are.
there.
I honestly, dude, one of these reporters should ask him about it. One of these beat
Yeah.
writers should ask him, "Why do you do that?" I don't see any other players around the league do that.
Well, they're not watching film like we are. All right, let's see
That's
here.
true. All right, this again is they're running
The run
that
play.
it's the exact
Yep,
same play. They've ran it
they know this is
a few
coming.
times. Yeah, and the thing is, and it's the exact same one too. It's even got the block by Caden Smith going to try and get that edge rusher on the left side.
Yep,
So this is the exact same play, and this is one of those things where, like I said earlier, if
looks
it
good
works,
here.
it's awesome. If it doesn't work, you
Yeah.
say, "Why the hell did you call that play?" Well, this is a touchdown if this play works, so I don't mind this play call. I think this is fine.
You want to see the real issue here? Watch Cam Fleming. My God, this guy. Well, look at this. Engram is running behind the guy. He's okay. So the defender's in front of him. Engram's supposed to be getting this ball. Look at Cam Fleming right here.
Hmm.
Completely whiffs. He's on the ground.
Yeah,
Look at this. You
yeah,
can't
and that
get any
disrupted the
worse than
timing
that.
a little bit. That definitely disrupted the timing
Completely,
a little bit. But
completely.
the worst, the bigger problem on this play is watch Caden Smith just not block anyone. He
Oh my
completely whiffs.
God. Yeah.
He's supposed to get number 47, the inside linebacker, and he just completely whiffs. And because Engram has one man to beat, just like last time, he has that one defensive lineman to beat, and then
Yep.
he has a big game. But Caden Smith
Yep.
whiffed.
This is
Now
yeah.
this is the play,
This is
and
the
if you
play. This is the
notice right
play.
now, while it's paused, you can even see that his gloves aren't strapped, and I just want to point that
Yep.
out because it annoys the hell out of me.
Not strapped, inside release. He's going deep, streak right down the field. He's on man coverage. This is against a cornerback. I mean, he
No,
torches
this is
this man.
beautiful. This is beautiful.
You
The
can't get better
route,
execution than this.
the
Everything
catch
about it
is
was perfect.
yeah, obviously the catch is terrible, but
Yeah,
the
obviously.
route is beautiful. He's playing the point
And the
receiver.
throw, oh my God, the throw.
Yeah.
But look at this game so far. What we have seen in this game, they have exemplified pretty much a lot more than we saw the first 3 weeks of this when we were going through this film so far. They have incorporated a lot more of Evan Engram, and we saw them utilize him. It looks like the Eagles were prepared for it because they knew what was coming on some of these plays. But for the most part, they're really getting him in space. They're trying to clear out space for him to run into. We saw it on the interception early on. Like that play, if he catches that ball, he's taking that 20, 30 yards maybe to the house. They're doing a good job scheming him into the game plan. They're just not doing a good job executing, and he's
They're
dropping
not executing.
passes.
Right.
Right.
And
Like if he
if you
catches
look
these
at
two
this,
passes, they win this game.
yeah, this is like it's like a slot fade. He's not really playing. I mean, he's technically playing slot, but he's not really because he's in front of Shepard when this play starts. So he's a point receiver on the left side. So, but if you
Right.
watch, because he does have a cornerback on him, this outside release here, right?
This
He's
is
stemming the
amazing.
route together
Yeah.
right here, and then he just bursts outside like that. It is perfect. That is a perfect route.
Perfect.
Because you have
And you
to
know what I like about
gives
it?
Jones enough space. He doesn't get too far to the sideline. It's a perfect route and it's a perfect throw. It just has to be caught,
Yeah.
simply put.
Because what I like about this is earlier on in this little session we've been doing today, you'll see Ingram line up behind Sterling Shepard. And we'll see Sterling Shepard cut across him, and then they'll see him Evan Ingram go on a wheel, or they'll throw him out to the flat for these short gains. But they're like the Giants are like, let's put him to sleep right now. Let's put him to bed. The problem is I think Evan Engram, honestly, this ball just hangs for him. He gets too excited. And look how long he has to look at this ball float in the air to him like a gift from the gods. Like the football gods are literally placing the ball in his hands. Look at this. Look at him. He's looking at this ball. You can't get better. You can't get better than that. You can't get more time. Just
Yeah.
everything about this is beautiful, except for
Yeah,
this.
to me,
And look, this is in his hands.
it's a perfect throw to me. I mean, some might want to try and argue it was a little overthrown. Regardless,
I don't
this
think
should be
so.
caught if it hits both of his hands, and regardless if it's a little overthrown, he should
But
lay
look at his
the f.
hands.
He should lay the f out on 3rd and 7. You know, he should
Yeah,
lay out.
look at
But
this.
this is
Who
yeah,
goes like
it should be
this?
caught.
Who goes like this? Who catches a ball like this?
That is a
Who
problem. Okay, that's
look
a
at this.
problem that I've
He's
been
like
pointing
this.
out for
What is
Engram for a
this?
long time. Engram, when you catch a football, you're supposed to have your fingers touching. Engram doesn't do that. He catches it like this
Look,
and he tries to
should
clap
be
it, which
soft,
is yes, that's a
like
big
a baby's
problem for
bottom.
Engram that I've been pointing out for a long time now. He doesn't know how to catch a football. Like when you catch, you're supposed to go like this, and you're actually a lot of people say go like this and make the triangle. You're supposed to like really
Mhm.
make it like this because it allows the cone of the football to just insert itself in there. But
That's what she said.
Engram, what he does, that is what she said. What Engram does is he'll go like this and he'll clap onto the ball, and that's
Mhm.
why a lot of his
You'll see it
drops
right here.
occur.
You're gonna see it right now. He goes like this. The second the ball goes, he actually puts his fingers together like
Yes,
this.
he goes like
That
that.
is
He
look at this.
claps
Watch.
the football.
Bam.
You're
You see
not,
the end
yeah.
there?
It's
Let me
bad.
see if
It's
I can
just bad
pause it.
fundamentals. You don't clap the football. You let it come to you. You
Look at
let
this right there.
you
What is
let it
that?
insert itself. The football has
Is he
to
going to
insert
Sunday
itself.
church? I don't understand.
He's praying. He actually
Yeah,
he
he's
did
praying.
look like he was praying there. That's kind of funny. He really did. He was going.
I mean, bam. Like his hands are scrunched together. His fingers are interlocking. Who is teaching this kind of technique to this man?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
It's bad. It's been a problem his whole career too. He just doesn't know how to catch the football. But I also
Yeah.
want to, if you rewind this, I want to look at this play design again because this is one of those things, right? And I want to give the full context of this drive, right? They ran the ball the first 3 plays of this drive or 4 plays of this drive, right?
Yeah, they were running with Wayne Gallman. They
First,
were pounding
yeah,
the rock.
first 2 runs both went for a first down. The next 2 runs only gained a total of 4 yards,
Didn't
right?
they have a nice screen
So
pass to him too, where DJ rolled out like 6 times and made it? Was that early in the game?
I feel like that was earlier in the game, but it could be right. But either way, right? No, because Daniel Jones didn't throw the ball on this drive until this
Okay,
play. Because that's the key point that I'm bringing up here, right? This is Daniel Jones in the clutch. They're driving. He doesn't have to
third
throw
and
the ball
six.
yet. When he has to throw the ball, he has to deliver a good pass, and he does. This should have been Daniel Jones's breakout moment here, where he puts together this play in the clutch to beat a rival on a Thursday night on the road. This is that moment for Daniel Jones, and he
Right.
lays out a perfect pass here, and
And
it's
look,
dropped, and it sucks
like you said
it really
before,
sucks for Jones.
what you said before, kind of grinded my gears, and it was that maybe you could make the argument that Daniel Jones overthrew this ball. Now, let me ask you a question.
I wouldn't make the argument,
Look
but
at
I've
this.
heard
Look
people
at this.
do it.
Look at this ball. Engram already
Yeah,
sees the ball here. All
I
he
know.
has to do is just turn on the jets and just keep going. And he like come on, man.
No, I
You could
agree.
put the extra horsepower down and get that ball. And even if he doesn't, you're a pass catching tight end. That is basically your job. You are not good in run blocking, and bam, he drops it.
I
It is what it
agree.
is.
And another thing I'll point out as well is there this is Daniel Jones reading the defense perfectly. There's a single high safety, so he
Great
knows that
outside
this
release.
outside
Beautiful.
release is going to be open. This fade route is going to be open. Yeah, that's in his hands. There's really no excuse for that. So
Yep.
yeah, that's not overthrown. I don't care who you are, what you say. That's
And
just not
this is where you're gonna
overthrown.
see it
And this is where I
the
saw the
best.
gloves thing. This is when I noticed it. You can see his gloves just aren't taped.
Right
And
off his fingers. And look at his hands. Look how his hands finish this
yes,
catch.
he claps at the ball rather than yeah, I don't know.
Look at this. He's praying. The
So
football
this is
gods gave him a
definitely
gift, and now he's praying for forgiveness.
he's saying, "Father, forgive me for I have sinned." That's what he's doing there.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Bam.
just tough to watch.
And Daniel Jones
You're making me
fish.
sad
Yeah.
again.
And and guys, that is 7 weeks worth of Evan Engram for you. So what have we learned, Anthony? You could break it down for me.
What have I learned? I have learned that he is the focal point of the offense. He is the hot read on just about every single play. He is the primary route. I've learned that has done good and has done bad. That has been bad for Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones often locks into the first read and he forces the ball over there and has a couple turnover worthy plays and a couple actual turnovers by forcing it into his first read, Evan Engram. I've also learned that Evan Engram getting the ball in space in the flat or on drags across the middle is deadly. And he has a good
Mhm.
feel for
Deadly.
spatial awareness in terms of sitting down in a soft zone and finding the open spot. And Jones and him have a good connection on those. So that's what we need to see more. And then, of course, he has to stop dropping the football. That's the number one thing. He's got
Yeah.
to catch the ball better. He's got to learn how to catch the ball. Simple as
Yep.
that, man.
That's it. That's it. And I know I agree with you on all those points. I think we're going to see him continuously get more reps, get more targets, and become a bigger part of this offense, especially with Sterling Shepard. Because if you think about it, we saw him really get involved in them, design some really, really quality plays during this Philly game. He just dropped too many passes. Otherwise, they win this game if he catches those two passes, the one interception and that last one. And a major part of that is because they have Sterling Shepard in the on the starting team, on the active roster. Because without him, teams can easily just factor him out. They just
Right.
have a safety back there, basically reading that seam. They're just reading the seam, making sure he doesn't bolt up it, and they're just making sure they take that away. And now you're forcing the ball to CJ Board, forcing the ball to Evan Engram in the flat. They can't do much with that. Now you have Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. You can push the field a little bit, open up space, and you can run Engram up the seam and really get him into space on those wheel routes and those outside release like we saw against Philly. That's what happens when you have Sterling Shepard next to him. By the way, that's cutting underneath.
Mm-hmm.
You take a guy it's completely out of the play, and there are now safeties that have to keep their eyes on more talented players like Shep and Slayton on the opposite side, Golden Tate. We're going to see more and more of this. We're going to keep doing these breakdowns and keep taking a look at the progression of certain players. We'll have you
Right.
guys get involved, letting us know what guys you want to see, what players you prefer, and we'll go from there, guys. So I really appreciate everyone that stuck around for this video. I know it was rather long, but I promise you probably learned a couple of really important things and what we've seen and why it might be worth keeping him around. Um, in my opinion, I think that you don't trade him unless you're getting just ample value, more than you expected. He is a playmaker. Even my opinion, I've been calling for him. I've been saying he needs to be traded, this and that. But after really diving into it and learning more about what he offers this team, the offense does circulate a lot around him and revolve around him. So I think it's worth exploring what more there is to him, especially because we've already picked up his fifth-year option. He's a cheap guy. He can be a lot better than what we've seen.
Yep. I'm still going to sit in my boat of I am open to trading him and I am actually down to do it. I just think the main reason I think that is because as explosive as he is and as dangerous as he can be, if you use him correctly, the Giants just don't. A lot of the times they
Mhm.
just don't use him correctly. We've seen it. We've seen them with those end arounds, with those handoffs, with those plays in the flat and those plays with the drags. We just don't see it enough. We don't see him get the ball in space enough. We don't see him go downfield enough, run any vertical routes. He rarely does that. A lot of it is just those stick routes. And I think that you can find someone who does that better. That's not really his skill set. I feel like you are forcing a square peg in a round hole, and that's one of the
Mhm.
things that Joe Judge promised not to do when he got here. So I am open to an Evan Engram trade, but I do think I'd be reluctant about it just because of how limitless his potential truly is at the tight end
How cheap
position.
he
So
is too.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, he's definitely cheap on his fifth year option. I also want to say you mentioned Sterling Shepard. He also was a big part of getting Evan Engram open on that route. He
Right.
goes underneath, and Evan Engram or Sterling Shepard
He
does a
draws
lot for this
eyes,
offense. He does a lot for this offense. He's really,
especially in the
really
run game,
a
by the
good
way.
player in the run game
That's why
as
they
well.
didn't run the ball at all.
He just does a lot in general, and I think that we should probably break him down next. And I think everybody should stay tuned because this was fun for us,
Yeah.
and I think it'll be fun for the viewers as well.
Yeah. I can't wait for the Sterling Shepard one. He really does a lot more than that meets the eye. So appreciate everyone for sticking around, watching the video. Hopefully you gain some awesome value, and we'll keep it up with these. Have a great time and night, and hopefully the Giants win next week.